My name is Grace Kalawale. I am the co-founder of Black Boys Are Beautiful. Black Boys Are Beautiful actually started I feel like it was a graphic design for me. And I just printed something up and I used it, and then I thought about what it meant to me. And it led me to believe that why don't people say that Black boys are beautiful? Like, why does that sound weird? I Googled it because, you can have a good idea, but like if somebody has it as a website, it's a really good idea. So I Googled it to see if there was any traction with that concept, but I didn't see anything. And then just through all of that, I learned that unfortunately, the most unliked human being on this part of the world are Black boys, Black men too, but even Black boys. So when all of that was going off in my head, I was like, oh, this is something I need to stay with. So it started like that, and it has become like an outreach program. I feel like Curtis came before the From His Garden concept. So when I met Curtis, we had talked a lot about doing some things for Black Boys Are Beautiful. He invited me to come see his new spot. And just the way he was telling me about things in his house, it was like I was in a museum. And it wasn't like he was telling me stories about the piece, he's telling me about how he acquired it. And it just felt like an honor to be welcomed into his home. And I was just really taken back by like the stories behind each piece in his home. And, it just really got to me. And then it just morphed into me seeing his home as his garden. And I feel like there are so many people in the community that are feeding the community, and the community is not even aware that they're doing that.
That was at my 40th birthday. That was just, they were at my crib, whatever. They came in from Atlanta, Cambridge. A lot of cats had moved down to because they went to Morehouse. This right here is another photo that I had taken of the fitness group in like Boston. Some of my friends, we started a fitness group. I was trying to help these brothers and sisters to get in shape.
That's nice.
So we're all friends. I mean, you go up there, you get up with them, and you get in the race, and you keep it moving. I had kept some of my own photo albums just to go into it. These are photos, like I'm telling y'all, there's a couple from high school, because I used to have all these books, and then I would do these things. This is like at a Tyson fight. I come back to Jersey, and then my man we had charged these like white folks $10 a head to get into a Tyson fight.
That's real. Nah, that's real. Because it was on pay-per-view, right? Yeah.
And look at this outfit white folks. They all pay. Yo, I never get this. I had to take a photo because I was like, yo, dog, this nut off like $500, yo. We were tripping. Like your mom, you know what I mean? Yo, I never got it. It was crazy. It was crazy. I just wanted the Jufu book. Oh man. Now I read this book. This was the 8th grade. The 8th grade. This book single-handedly changed my life forever. This book, my mom had changed her job when I was in the 7th, 8th grade. She went from being a secretary to being a manager, executive housekeeper. But she had to be sent away. She went to a program in Baltimore to get trained. So my sister came home from college to watch me. I was in the 8th grade, so I was just running wild. I was absolutely wild in 8th grade. I was already wild. I mean, it was absolutely just unleashed. And I was living in Jersey, in this country area in southern Jersey, like 15 minutes away from like Philly. So by then I realized I'm close to Philly, and I had some like older friends. So by then I'm started going to Philly. I have these like grown girlfriends and stuff like that. My mom was like, I gotta figure out a way to get out of here. So she took this new job. She took this training. But when she was in Baltimore, she went to everyone's place. It's still there now. This was it. And the thing that sometimes whenever every time I open this book, it brings tears in my eyes because my mom had wrote in it. And at the time, I like I said, I didn't I didn't have the knowledge of self. So I was just a little bit, reckless, early on. Parents divorced. There's a lot going on. But then when I read this book, I'm telling you, man, it catapulted me, man. And I was in special ed because of speech impediment and comprehension issues. And then I read this book 8th grade. By the 10th grade, straight A's. It was unbelievable. Got out of special ed. My mom moved me to Cambridge, Mass. The whole city was like, like educated. You got Harvard, MIT there. You got brothers. I never seen. You had brothers that were from Haiti, from the islands, and going through real difficulties. Serious shit was popping off. The family just got here. They were struggling, and they were going through it, but they were getting straight A's. Here they going through it. First generation U.S. Mom busting her ass. They going through it. They told me, brother, you can get straight A's too. You got to read. You got to focus. And I'm like, word. But these guys is on the street. They out here bagging too because they got to make $1. They trying to make a dollar. But they was like, yo, regardless of what we doing, we're still studying. I was like, damn, these brothers is ill. They selling and they still studying. That's I never seen it before. Changed my life. I said, well, brother, you better, if they doing it, you got to do it. So then, boom, all of a sudden, I surround myself with all the brothers that you see now, and we still talk regularly every single week, and some of them daily still. They all doing some powerful things. And them brothers helped me to change my life because, after that, I became a voracious reader, honor roll, and made it to college. That's just what it is. But this book was the impetus of that. And I had, in here, I passed this book on to my sons, and then I got it back from them because I was like, yo, this was the book that my mom gave me. Y'all can borrow it, but I needed that.
Like I said, every time going to his home, going to his garden, it just seems like it's just a magical place to be.
But there are things in a sense that bring so much pleasure to your eye and the energy that you have every single day. Mm-hmm. So when it's not like that I'm spending money on like a pair of jeans or something like that and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I just think about how, it's enriching. It's a daily thing. It's not you wear it, you take it off. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's always there. Yeah. It's always there, And so that's the piece. That's one thing about art that I always am drawn to is that it's always there. Once you buy it, it's there. You may not have it out. You may store it. Some of your different pieces that you may find. Yeah. But I know that from your age, I wish I had more vision and held on to more things that I had when I was your age. Because you move around. That was something you move around. I'll put that there. I left it on my eyes. Then you look for something. Right. Yeah. And it'd be like little gems. Yeah. I built pretty much the whole house's color schemes around these 3 pieces here. This right here, these symbols, and when she painted these, has driven this here home, and love has driven this here home. So this right here is Odo Enri Fikwan, which means love never gets lost on its way home. This right here is Sumsum, the soul Adinkra. This is the soul. As we know, the soul is non-yielding, is pure energy, pure light. And then it is a coma into Asu, which is united hearts and unification of different hearts. And that's what this here relationship has been, a unification of different hearts. The characteristics and the traits of the Adinkras, them themselves, are what we embodied here during this time. And it's just a blessing.
I met him, there was this vibe, there was this connection, right? And I was so excited the next day because I saw opportunity. you know, like opportunity for growth, opportunity for change. Like I was already on my own personal journey of healing and growth. I don't know. I was in a different place. I had kind of not, you know, given up, for lack of a better word. I was just kind of content. You know, I was content with. I had my little, you know, ride on a merry-go-round, and I got off, and I'm off the ride, and I'm okay with that. And then when I met him, I was like, this is magical. Like this opportunity fell out of the sky, and he really planted a lot of seeds in me of growth and change, and just kind of helped me further along on this journey. And I think we both kind of supported each other in those ways. I think we both had a lot of untapped potential that we've been able to realize, and the opportunity and the excitement is still there every day because there's still so much more to realize, you know, between the two of us.
Before we did the recording, I think I've been to Brother Curtis's house 2 times, maybe 3. But when we did like a rough draft, like a rough walkthrough of this project, he actually surprised me. Like I thought, I don't want to say I've seen everything that he had to show in the home, but I did not know that that he had this artifact in his home. And the first day that he showed us, you know, with me not even knowing we were going to be shown, it really took me back and shocked me in a good way, but it was a shock nonetheless. And something that I don't think no Black History Month has ever offered me. So yeah, that was shocking.
You know, we're about to show you all, brothers, and everybody's, you know, something. Me and my queen last year, February, we got married officially in Ghana, in a town named Senya Baraku. It's north of Accra. And further north of that, of Senya, on the coastline, is Cape Coast, one of the slave castles that were in Ghana that thousands of our ancestors were brought through. On the journey, we had a chance, like I said, to go north of Senya, where we got married, to Cape Coast, which has one of the slave castles there, is Cape Coast Slave Castle. And while we were there, I was looking for antiquities, pieces that we can connect to from this time, from our ancestors being captured and such. You can't find anything. There are no, when you're looking for memorabilia or as they call it now, because it's a piece of memory. But these antiquities, it's hard to find them. So I would ask some of the art dealers that I would find, do you have this, do you have that? They were like, no, I don't have anything. We came across this one dealer, and I asked him, I said, do you have anything from Cape Coast, from one of the slave castles? And he said, you must know, brother, you must know. I said, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. He said, I'm not, you know, yes, I love the other piece of art, but I'm looking for real pieces that are connected to that time for us. And he said, I do have something. He went into the back room, and he took me back there, and he had different pieces of control tools, torture tools of that time, of the slave trade, or European slave trade. Let me make that distinction: the European slave trade. And he had said, I have something that you can purchase. He had brought out these here. He brought these out here, and these are actually from Cape Coast, and these were actually used to keep our people in bondage. And to have and hold these, and have went back at that time last year to go to Ghana and then to actually have acquired these and found these and to realize and connect with the times that they came from is just, as a historian, as a lover of our people, it's just, I can't even describe it. And I think about, how many times were these used and the history of them and who was made to wear them and what happened to those people. And there's so many thoughts and go into this, and these are the real thing here. And you think about how we are here because somebody had went through the unthinkable, and we're still talking about it, about recognition. And when I see these here, to me, this is recognition. This is a piece of that recognition. This is a piece of that particular history. It's so for y'all, it's a different time in some ways and still going on. But like, I remember, man, when I was younger, like in high school and even prior to that, it's like people don't even validate what happened. People don't recognize in that sense of what happened. Like, we're talking about reparations now, in that sense, right? But I remember a time when it's like I was talking about this stuff. They talking to me like I'm crazy. Like, oh, you're bringing up old history. But I recall in Jersey though, it was like I'm saying they like, oh, Curtis, you're angry, or why are you bringing this up, or why are you saying that? And it's like it's still a lack of recognition of the history. It's still like not recognizing why things are the way they are now, like currently, even today, right? I mean, there's still a reason for it. There's still a reason for the hardship and the overall apartheid system that we still live within. But then we get tricked in thinking that it's not like that. We need to have these reminders in our spirits every day. We won't forget. And we'll push ourselves a little bit harder if we are reminded, if we don't forget. They want us to forget. But when you see this right here, it's pure, hard evidence. When you go to see them castles, and you see the floors that are built up from centuries of feces and throw up and urination on the floors today. And they said they want to redo the castles. The European countries are about to come and redo the castles. Are about to beautify the slave castles on the coast of West Africa. Because of the fact that when you go there, when black folks go there and they feel that energy and they see it, and they don't forget, and it reawakens us.
Curtis is definitely black family. He's black love. Family is important in his household, and I think that that's something that you'll see in his garden as well. Family as a system is important everywhere, right? Because that's where any child learns whatever they're going to learn. That's the hub that you come out of. And black families, I feel like, have been ripped apart in so many different ways that I think I have acknowledged that black men are part of the equation and we can't take them out. With Curtis, I would say that is definitely what he does when he's on the clock, when he's off the clock. It's important for black boys to see black men that they have respect for. They need to see more of it, and not just the ones that they can see on TV, the ones they can't touch. It needs to be like around the corner, type of thing. And I also believe in making people your unofficial mentor. So like if you live close to Curtis, he ain't got to be your mentor, but if you know him, get some information from him. So I definitely would say that black men as role models to black boys is a must. We can't do it without them. I don't care how much the women love the boys. The men have to be present.
What's your favorite plant in the actual garden? What's your favorite garden plant?
Like cut off me.
Hot dog.
He knew that.
That's not in the garden, you silly Willie. That's not a garden plant. A hot dog's not a garden plant.
I'll take it with something else. I like apples.
Okay.
And bananas.
Okay.
And peach.
What have you grown in your garden? What have we grown in our garden?
I know potatoes,
Yep.
Okay.
cucumbers,
Yep.
Okay.
and some black beans,
Yep.
Oh, some black beans.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
and cauliflower. Anybody like cauliflower?
Cauliflower, yeah, I love it.
So I don't know if I mentioned the topic of where me and Curtis came up with, even having a topic. So again, Saturday Night Bike Club had I think it was a Halloween ride. So it was a collaboration of all bike clubs. And that day I was talking to Curtis about doing a podcast, which would have been an audio podcast. And I asked him just off the riff, like, what's your title going to be? And he was like, how to be your own best friend. And again, I think he's had the title for like 2 years. And I've never asked him what would he say, but I knew that it was a topic that Black boys could gain information from. And I think that day when he talked about it, he talked about how, one, you got to be the positive voice in your head. And then also you have to not believe the bad things you tell yourself. So to me, being your own best friend is not easy to do, but if you can channel more positivity about yourself, being your own best friend would be fun to do. So I think there's a lot of layers there. I don't know if we got it all that day, but I was glad that he was able to share a little bit about that.
One of the pieces that we were building on in regards to, the garden and different developments and growing your own garden is a garden is a metaphor of life. But one of the pieces that, for me, and spending time in a garden, it helps me to be with myself or with my queen or whoever else is working in the garden. But it's a piece of spending time with yourself. And it's another way on being your own best friend. So if there's any lesson that the garden can offer is how to be your own best friend. And there's so many metaphors in the garden space itself that you could utilize on helping yourself, on caring for yourself like you care for your actual garden.
See, some of the things, how the lies we tell ourselves and how our brain is wired to believe the negative stuff, right? And we'll believe those negative things aren't actually true. But then the true things about ourselves, like our strengths, we won't really believe that those are our strengths. You know what I mean? So it's like the things like, oh yeah, I'm never going to be able to make this thing happen. I'm always going to be unorganized. I can never get organized.
Right.
I can never learn mathematics. Yes. We start to believe that stuff about ourselves. Even though it's not true, we don't even put forth the effort.
I think knowing yourself, self-care, and boundaries, right? And tying it into the garden. So you got a lot going on in the garden. You got this one space, but you got kale over here, peas over here, chard back there, right? And everybody's different. Some things are big and showy and flowery. Some things are a little small and do their own thing over here. So just kind of knowing where you fit in, appreciating that everybody's different and everybody's not going to show up the same way, and kind of knowing how you're going to show up, right? And then boundaries, like knowing what your boundaries are. Keeping the order, that's how you talked about. Like, this is the corner over here for this crop, and this is the area for that crop. And I'm not going to go over here in areas where I don't belong or that aren't necessarily for me, like those kind of boundaries. And then self-care, like knowing what your needs are and knowing what your needs are in different seasons, right? Each plant, each flower has different care needs.
Right.
And then your needs are going to present differently based on whatever season of life you're in or whatever time of your life it is. So just understanding that, recognizing that about yourself, being aware of what's going on around you, and kind of staying in your space that you cultivate for yourself to grow and flourish.
So once I got to the point where I was like, okay, we're definitely doing something with Curtis from his garden, I did talk to one of my sisters. Her name is Shadanya. And I was just telling her about being able to record it. And even though I had this idea that I wouldn't be able to do it by myself. And then she was like, you can probably do it. Like maybe you'll reach out to Howard University and they'll get you like a group of people to come and help you. And I was like, ain't nobody about to, like, I'm not about to write a proposal for like whatever that's going to take. I'm not down to do it. But inshallah, hopefully this will happen, right? So from that conversation, I met a brother named Karan. And the first day I met him, I told him about this idea about From His Garden. And on that day, he was like, well, I could give you a list of 10 people who are interested. And I was looking at him like, yeah, right. But I was excited. And come to find out that the brother delivered. And he actually has his own documentary, the Burn documentary, that he was working on. And he basically invited me to work with his crew. And since he said that, like from the day he said it would happen, this shit actually happened. And when I think about it, just in retrospect, like the work that BBRB is trying to do on behalf of Black boys, it like really touches my heart that young black men came to help make this project happen. I cannot imagine being able to like have this resource that you guys gave me. And I feel like when you guys came to the house too, that it made sense to you. Because at first it's like, you could tell people you love to do something. And then they'd be like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, but maybe not. But when you guys came, you were with it too. So I'm super appreciative of being able to work with your crew and for you guys to lend yourself to this community work that we're trying to do. So thank y'all for that.
You want to always have hope and like true like faith and belief that love will come back, and if you don't have love, you will have love, because love is something that we are all worthy of, whether it's from ourselves or from someone else. We are worthy of love, and even in the moments that you may not feel it, it's not going to get lost. It's going to come back home.
If there's one Curtis, there has to be others out there. There has to be other gardens that are helping our community to be stronger. So I hope that we develop more value for community in the real sense of the word, not just emojis, but like action, and action daily. Because Curtis is a social worker and he works in a school, and he works in a school that's predominantly Black. And he often has to stand in the gap of like being there for our babies, you know what I'm saying, when parents cannot be. And if he's truly who he presents himself to be at school and even at home, then that's somebody we definitely should not be overlooking, and we should have like more value for people who have gardens that benefit other people. So like I said, what everybody will take away will be what they take away, but I hope it has something to do with having more value for works in the community.